This video is brought to you by my two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and The Blues Guitar Bible. Want to learn about modes, harmony, scales, chord substitution and keys? Or maybe you're interested in supercharging your blues guitar rhythm and lead chops. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee you will be hitting the fast lane to progress with either of these works. Both feature video demonstrations and tutorials, loads of tabs and jam tracks to play along with, and I promise you, everything is explained in crystal clear plain English. Check out the links in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. That tune there is the finished version of the latest tune for this little album project, vanity project if I'm honest, thing that I'm kind of working on at the moment. I'll give you a bit of a breakdown of the rhythm track last week, and I said I'd be back this week with some lead parts, and that's what you've just heard. Yes, seasoned viewers of this channel will know that the album, all the tracks are named after little treats and snacks that our very spoiled dog Dougal enjoys, and so far we've had things like Gravy Bone and Shapes after Winalot Shapes, biscuits. What else have we had? Bull's Pizzle. Yes, it is that part of a bull. You can buy all these things in the local pet shop, and today's offering goes under the title of Camel Skin, and that's what you've just heard. Here's a not that very brief explanation of how I came up with the three main parts of the tune: the verse, the chorus and the bridge. Right then, the verse. If you were watching last week, you will know that the chord sequence I came up with was basically E to A minor, G sharp major to F major, then back to an E again, to an F, A minor, to G sharp major again. And in case you weren't watching last week, all of those notes can be found, all of those chords rather, can be found in the famous Dickdale Misirlou scale of the Byzantine scale, which goes E, F, G sharp, A, B, C, D sharp, E. You know, and you can get that famous melody from that little scale there, and just combine kind of the notes from that scale into the chords of E, A minor, G sharp, F, E, F, A minor, G sharp. Okay, all the notes in all of those chords are found in that scale, hence we can use that scale over the top of that chord sequence. And then it really is just something that I've said, you know, countless times before when looking at other people's solos or looking at how you put something melodic together. You just choose a target note from each chord and use the scale to connect them. So I think what I did to begin with was this little run here. So that's going E, F, G sharp, A, and that A arrives at the time when the A minor chord turns up. And then we get... So let's take a look at that there. We're kind of going for the, targeting the lick to finish over the G sharp chord. And what I'm playing is that little lick there. Look at those two notes there, the G sharp and the G sharp. The G sharp and the D sharp, rather. Well, they're just a pair of notes from that G sharp chord. And then I just walk up the scale, D sharp, E, F, okay, because those three notes are in the scale, and I finish on the F note there, which is, you know, where the F chord arrives. So I've got this basic little melody of, where am I? And that just has a kind of nice rhythmic kind of lilt to it, and then we just sort of take something similar to that, or maybe even that rhythmic pattern itself, and write something that sort of counterbalances to that. And what I was thinking here was, well, basically this part essentially is an ascending or mainly ascending melody. Let's do something that descends. So this time we go, and once again, chord note there. By the time I hit that C note, the F chord has arrived, which has that C note in it. And then, there we go, I remembered it. And the principal note here is this D sharp note, which once again is in that G sharp major chord. So that's just a little breakdown of how I put that verse melody together, and over the top of the chords it sounds like this. And so we move on to the chorus. I do like a key change when it comes to a chorus. The verse, albeit based around that sort of kind of Dick Dale Misery Lou scale, has sort of an E major tonality. And, you know, let's change key and go up to G major. And this time I'm just going to go for something a little bit more conventional, just something essentially major key based, where I'm going G to B minor, E minor to a little borrowed A7th chord. I've done videos on borrowed chords in the past, what they are, how you use them and where you borrow them from. I'll maybe put a link to that in the description. But then from the A7 we go to a C, to a G over B, to an A minor, and then a C, to a D, which will take us nicely back to the E chord again for the arrival of the next verse. Equally, when I double up on the chorus, that C and D will take us nicely back to the G chord again for the beginning of another chorus. So, once again, I'm thinking here in terms of chord tones. It is the secret sauce to coming up with a melody, but there's another little ingredient I put in the chorus, and it's a bit of a mouthful. It's called an appoggiatura. What is an appoggiatura? Well, it's just basically delaying the arrival of that resolving note, where, you know, the note that is going to coincide with the chord. So for the chorus, I think I went something like... Now that A note there is the note which is arriving at the arrival of the G chord, and the G chord doesn't have an A note in it, and so that note there is sort of delaying the arrival of the G note, which is the strong chord tone there. And then we go to the B minor, which has the F sharp note in it. And once again, I'm not landing on the F sharp note, the chord note of the B minor, like kind of right at the start of the B minor chord. I'm starting on this E note here. And just that little bit of tension where it's not resolved at the beginning of the chord, and then kind of, you know, you land on the note which is going to coincide with the chord. That just adds a little bit more interest to the melody. There and there, and then yeah, I'm kind of doing it a little bit there. I'm thinking, although I'm starting on an E note for this, the next chord is E minor, so I'm starting on an E note, so obviously that's a resolved note. But that F sharp note there is just adding a little bit of tension before we come to the G note, which is the sort of money note, if you like, for the E minor chord. We hit the A7 next, and then, you know, landing on the B note there at the beginning of the A7. There's no B note in an A7, but there is a C sharp. So again, that sort of delayed gratification of going up to the C sharp note there. As I say, when you do this, it's called an appoggiatura. Do it a couple of other times as well. We're up to the C chord now. Something like that. I played, and then A minor, and yeah, I'm just basically here. I'm not really kind of doing anything spectacular or clever. It's just G major pentatonic. Always room for a little bit of a pentatonic thing. And then we come to the C, where I land on a C note, to an A note in the D chord, landing on the G sharp note there for the arrival of the E chord at the beginning of the next verse. And that's sort of, as you can probably tell, I had something of a plan for the first half of the chorus melody, and then I had a plan for the second half as well, but I forgot it while I was playing, so that's why I resorted to Old Uncle Pentatonic, and it kind of worked, so I thought that would suffice as the template for the melody, which I could then, play around with and take liberties with and expand upon and add some twiddly filigree sort of stuff in subsequent choruses. But there you go. That's how the chorus came together. And so finally we move on to the bridge melody. Time for another key change. I do like a key change. I think it's probably because I was a product of, I was born in the 60s. I'm a child of the 60s, but grew up listening to music in the 70s, and Queen, ELO, ABBA, all the bands that were in the top 40. They used to love scattering modulations and key changes around all over the place, and that sort of stuck with me. So we're going to the key of F here. We've just had the second chorus, which is in G, so we kind of go C to D at the end of that chorus, which takes us nicely to an F chord. I play it up here because then what I can do, and I just need to swap knees for this, I can take that F chord and I can kind of walk down a scale. I could do the whiter shade of pale thing of that kind of thing, but I decided to kind of come down an F mixolydian like that. So I'm going F, then keep the F triad and go to an F chord with an E flat in the bass, then an F triad with a D in the bass, effectively giving us D minor 7, to an F chord with a C in the bass. So takes us nicely into a B flat chord, G minor 7, back down to an F down here, then go up to an A flat, just a little borrowed chord. Again, I've spoken about those in the past. And then I've noticed that I've gone a minor third from the F, up a minor third to the A flat. Let's go up another minor third to a B or B7. And that provides a nice little gateway back into the E chord for the next verse. So essentially what we've got is a descending kind of chord sequence. Like that. So, just seems obvious at that point there to add a little bit of contrast, or I suppose is this counterpoint, to make the melody ascend. So I'm starting again. Chord tones are the order of the day here. The F chord has a C note in it. Then going up to the E flat, because that E flat bass note is coming there. And then up to an F chord. We're still on an F chord with that descending bass line, albeit, but still an F. Up to this note here, and then just doing a simple little F major pentatonic thing there like that. At which point we arrive at the B flat chord. So I'm thinking, so those two notes, the two notes, that one and that one, Well, that's just the 6th of the B flat, so it's kind of an okay note to use, but there's your real money note. And then, of course, the G note is the root of the G minor 7 that's arrived there. And then where did I go after that? Onto the F note for the arrival of the F chord, then the A flat chord, which comes next. Has an E flat note in it, and so does the B7 chord, where I do this kind of hybrid picking thing, almost like something from Soul Man by Sam and Dave, isn't it, that when you hear it in isolation? And then to land back on the G sharp and the E for the arrival of the next verse, which begins on the E chord. You can see those two notes are part of the E chord. So yeah, all I was thinking there was, and I literally had about 5 minutes to record that before I had a lesson booked in, and I just thought chord notes, chord sequences descending, make the melody ascend using chord notes, and that was, I think, the first take that I did of that. And I listened to it back a couple of times and I thought, yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't think I would. I think I could spend maybe 3 or 4 hours and not come up with something that fitted any better, so I kept it, and that is the bridge melody. Let's have a listen to it. So hopefully that made some kind of sense. As usual, there will be a full, by the time this video goes out, there will be a full tab in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats of the entire piece of music, along with the backing track, so you can have a go at playing along with it yourself. And that explanation you've just seen there, that's all up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description, as I'm sure you know by now. $3 or about £3 a month gets you access to all of these additional goodies that go along with these YouTube videos. And of course, a massive heartfelt thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are to be found down in the description. And that is it for today, folks. Apologies for a slightly longer video today, but I just wanted to include all of the information that I could. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we just basically have a beer and a chat. It's a great way to kick off a weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.